Ada for quitting my job after I was sent home early repeatedly and my hours were cut. I 19 female, and my fiance 20 male worked for the same business at the same location. Not saying names as I'm not trying to get sued. Last Wednesday I had an issue with one of my managers where she dismissed my medical issue and said hers was worse. I was working a 10-hour shift and had gone to the bathroom about 3 times in the first 6 hours. The manager asked why I was going so much and I told her that I had a UTI, which wasn't a lie. In which she responded with, "That sounds like a personal problem. I'm lactose intolerant and all I eat is ice cream. And I can still do my job. You should be as well." I never went to the bathroom when it was busy, always made sure it was either dead or close to it, and never was in the bathroom for longer than a minute. I held my tongue even though her comparing the two was ridiculous, as she can control what she puts in her body, and I can't control having a UTI. Later when I went on break I messaged my GM about the issue, explained everything in detail, and was honest about how many times I used the bathroom and why. His response to the message was that the manager would be sending my fiance and I home at 8. My fiance, who was furious, called him and politely asked why he was being sent home as well, and was told that it was because we share a car. We live 5 minutes from our job. I could easily take the car home and come back to get him when he got off. We brushed it off and went home when we were told to. Later that night I messaged him and asked if I was allowed to come back in the next day, and he essentially said yes, and to get to feeling better. The next day we went into work and were sent home early again. They said their labor hours were high. I didn't fight it. We went home, and tried again 2 days later when we were scheduled to work again. Once again we were sent home at 10. The next day we got to work our full shift and the schedule came out. At the end of our shift we went to check the schedule and had 30 hours each. Normally we get 40 each. We thought maybe it was just because labor hours were high and once again just brushed it off, until we went in this Wednesday and tried to work. We were sent home 3 hours into our shift. No reasoning. I messaged the GM asking why we were sent home because we were not informed, and never got an answer. I messaged him again yesterday asking again. We were supposed to go back in Saturday. Never heard anything back. Messaged again this morning. Once again. Nothing. I found out around 5 that the manager I had an issue with is his daughter, and that was why we were sent home and continued to be sent home and get our hours cut. So later this evening around 6 or 7 I contacted him again and informed him that my fiance and I will not be coming in Saturday, Sunday, or ever again even, and informed him that we will not work for a GM who shows his favoritism and lets his daughter get away with anything. Even if the situation wasn't serious, there were other situations I had heard about, such as her watching Netflix in the office while we were slammed, not closing correctly, leaving food out all night and ruining thousands of dollars worth of food, and a lot more. I informed him that this wasn't a decision that was easy to make, but that there was no reason for us to be punished for reporting something to him. That our hours being cut, us being sent home early almost every night since, it was unacceptable and unprofessional. After quitting I called corporate and opened a case against the GM, his daughter, his boss, and one other manager. Please do not misunderstand me. I could have understands if it was about the labor hours, but finding out that he was literally talking shit about my fiance and I, and telling his staff our hours were cut because I stood up to his daughter, is unprofessional. I am not the kind of person to back down from a fight. I'm not the kind of person to bow down to someone just because they have more power than I do. My mom always raised me not to allow someone to disrespect me, and I'm not even having the common decency to message me back and answer my question and talk shit behind my back. Just shows the kind of person he was and shows how power hungry he is. I also found out he's been to jail for having sexual intercourse with a minor in the bathroom at work, and he was still able to get his job back and continue to work with minors. I couldn't work in that environment. My family thinks I'm crazy for quitting, and thinks I did it because I didn't want to work, or just thinks I'm lazy. I do already have a job lined up. I just want other people's opinions to the situation because it's to the point I feel like I am legitimately crazy for not wanting to work at a place that disrespected me and retaliated against me, as well as mistreated my fiancé just because he was my fiancé. Any opinions are welcome.